Hi, it is the meditation matrix time again. So today I received questions from a friend, and I think it is good that I share with you my response to that questions. Because I think it is very important that we know this, and this information is out so that we all know what is going on. Now, a few days ago, I was sharing that using the calmness awareness map, we can map different type of meditations or yoga or qigong practice. So we know where they are in the map. We know their characteristic, and their boundary, their strength, or their limitations, and so forth. Okay, so for what I call type 1 the other day is the usual meditation, general public meditation, where you can get in the app and so forth, so those are the meditation between 0 and 2 the most. Okay, those are the type 1 I call the usual meditations in general public. And one characteristic of this is like you feel like relaxed, you feel like you go to the like a vacations, taking a break and escape. And then many people with this type 1 of meditation, they will start talking about philosophy, Zen, and all kinds of stuff. And then based on their peaceful feeling within the 1 and 2. Okay, so forth. And speculating on philosophy and all kind of stuff with the type 1 type of meditation is what I call the star. Because people with between 0 and 2 calmness, and they start to talk about enlightenment, they see light and all kinds of energy and those kind of stuff. Okay, so there's those type. Now, and then there's the other type of meditations and yoga, energy work, or qigong. And those type is the well-being type, where it is range from minus 1.5, okay, and go beyond the 2 to pretty high level here. Okay, and so that is the type of what I call type 2. So yoga, meditations, qigong, okay, the serious professional type of yoga and qigong, they belong to this group, type 2 meditations. Okay, where they handle the four core element. So this is the 4 core element. Okay, where they have the physical, mind, breathing, and energy neuron. While the guy here is always talk about mind, like the entire world is just mind. But what is mind? There's a question, a big question there. This is handling the 4 core elements. So it's a full-blown professional type of practice. So this friend is asking, if one is practice this type 2, the type 2, however, one is within this 1 and 2 range here, how is one going to progress, okay, pass through the level 2 of calmness? Meaning that if one is here, how is one going through it? Okay, and so that this type of practice is not like the type 1 practice, okay, the really full-blown practice. So my answer to that is number 1, the reason I share the 3 principles of the human operating system, or the entire of the human operating system, or this book, okay, is to make sure that one don't fall into this star, okay, so one be able to work in this type 2 type of practice, energy practice and so forth. Okay, so that's number one. You need that principle, you need that human operating system understanding, because those are the common denominator of 1,000 years of experience of big data there. Okay, now on top of that, one need to have an experienced teacher, because the teacher need to know the students' four core elements: the body, the breathing, the body, the mind, the breathing, the energy neural condition, in order to help them to proceed to further state. Because now we are talking about going to different state. When you have a higher calmness, meaning that you're going to a different state. It's not mind thinking. It's not like people who is in here between 0 and 2, everything is mind. Okay, and the state is like you go to vacation. Of course you're going to feel good in the vacation, but you go back to the office again, then you it's a totally different world. Over here, the type 2 is you have to deal with the real life. Deal with real life meaning you have to use all four the core elements, okay, and you deal with states, human states. So you need a teacher. Now, for example, like the other day I shared with you guys on the meditation designed for -1 calmness. Okay, that meditation is different than the meditation using in the +1. You have to have different means for people in a different state. Okay, so the teacher need to know that, and the teacher need to change methods or techniques. In the ancient time, when we practice Qigong and so forth, we are not supposed to share with our school brother or school sister on what we practice. Not that this is secretive. It is because different people, different body condition, different four core element conditions. So the teacher is like writing a RX, a prescriptions for this guy is different from the other guy. Okay, so you cannot copy that. Okay, so there's a reason you need a teacher. The second, in order to push further than the second level of calmness, one need retreat, real retreat. The further you want to go, the more retreat you need to have. If you want to have samadhi, then there's a different than you just want to break the barrier between the barrier of the level 2 to go further. Why? For example, if you are CEO of a company, then in the morning you wake up, and at the night you think your CEO stuff, your mind pattern, and so forth, so forth, so forth. Now, if you want to break this progress to go beyond the say calmness of the level 2, you need to drop that. So maybe 6 months, 1 year, you need to drop that. Otherwise, if the CEO is keeping between the -1 and 1 calmness level here, daily and at night is always here, it is very, very unlikely one be able to break the barrier to go proceed further than 2. Disregard what his practice. So there's a retreat there. okay, 6 months or 1 year, you don't want to have any job at all. You just do it. So if you can see, monk will sometimes do 3 years and so forth. That's because when they want to break the barrier, they have to go through that thing. Okay? And in Buddhism, it's like there are 4 fruits. The 4th fruit is the Arahat fruits, which is the 4 layer. The lay people who have wife, who can have business, can get up to the 1st level. But if you want to attain the 4th fruits or the Arahat fruits, you need to leave home. Okay, it's not because of the Buddha set a rule for you, because you need your 4 core element and your energy and so forth to support that achievement. Okay, and so you need the retreat. The 3rd one, once you pass through every of the calmness barrier, like for example, over here, the first between 0 and 1, this is a physical. You can handle the physical here. Now, when you get to 1 to 2, then you can handle your mind, and then you can handle your breathing here, and then you pass through 2, then you can handle your energy and neural. Okay, so it is sequential stuff. Depend on how you can handle this. Go to the top is based on your calmness level. Okay, now if you pass through 2, you get into this energy neural layer, meaning you will be aware of your body energy, and you're aware of your neural more than when you're here. When you're here, it's like you don't aware of it much. Then your living, the daily living, will be different. For one thing, it's like when people talk about this. Oh, when you do practice this, you don't have when you pass through the calmness level 2, you don't have sex that much anymore. Well, why? Because anybody who pass through the calmness 2, get into this energy neural works or development level, they're aware of the energy in the body and the neural or sympathetic, parasympathetic more than before. So what the sex going to do to the body, they aware of it. So if they want to continue on, they're gonna cut sex, cut the energy drain, okay, and cut anger, hatred. Because when they do that, it's like you put the thing under magnifying glass, okay, you zoom the whole thing up. So people, when pass through 2 and go forward, go more and more toward the samadhi, they because of they aware of this energy stuff and so forth. So their living, the daily living, will be different than who they are here. So practically they change. Okay. So this is what the truth, if one going through that. So it is very different than one stay in -1 and 1 and having those kind of vacation type of peacefulness and keeping top big philosophy here. It's a different deal. Over here is like there's 4 core elements: the body, the mind, the breathing, the energy neural. You want to handle it, they will be able to handle it. Over here is like you say, oh, mind, peaceful, and then philosophy, Zen. It's not that. Okay. So that's what it is. And I want to make further example for you so that you can know what's going on here. Okay. So we need this calmness awareness map, and then we need all this gadget to be able to measure, because we want to be able to quantize it. We want it to be a data-driven science, which is really solid footing with the data and reality. Okay, not talking philosophy. So what happened is, if you look at, say, for example, the Buddhists, the real what do you call that, the practitioner of the Buddhism, okay, the monks and so forth, you see that they practice their samatha, or the calmness meditations, to get as far as they can to samadhi, and then they get the awareness, and then they practice the vipassana, the insight meditation, either to go inward or outward. Okay, inward is to attain their vibrations, outward to be able to gain insight and so forth. So that is how they do it in a, this is what I call the type 4, okay, the type 4. So I want to share with you guys this, okay. Before I want to share with you that, I want to share with you one more thing first. We need to know that, okay, this is a calmness awareness map. Your handling of your 4 core elements, or your 4-layer model, is based on your calmness, okay. If you have a 1 and 2 layer usual thing, those usual meditation, you can only get the rest the most. When you want to have a basic handling, you want to get further than that, and you want to have an effective, you have to get farther than that. So this is a qigong and a yoga and so forth. You can have to have more than 2 in order to handle doing energy works, okay. And also, your mind, your handling of your mind is different based on your calmness. The people who have the lower calmness here, the handling of their mind, their thinking, the intention, so forth, is much weaker, the capability, than the person who have a higher calmness, okay. So you will need to put this into our mind to know that it is not just you are in this negative, in the 0 to 1 vacation type of relax, and then you start to speculate on whatever Zen enlightenment. You cannot do that, because when you go up here, it is about the state, experience of the state. It is not about what people call mind, okay. Mind mean different thing. When people who is in here, say for example, here is the samadhi state, okay, the samadhi state, which is far away from here. This is state, and the state involve the entire 4 core elements, which is involve the body, the mind, the breathing, and the energy neuron. It's not mind just thinking, oh, if I think this way, the mind this way, is completely different thing. So right now I want to give you guys an example. For example, there is something called one-pointedness of mind. One-pointedness of mind. Okay, you can read on this philosophy, Zen, Buddhism. They always people talk about one-pointedness of mind. Okay, in the Sanskrit, okay, is chitta gata. Okay, so it's one-pointedness of mind, one-pointedness of mind. And you can see people say, oh, this need to be concentrations. Okay, concentration and so forth. Actually, this one-pointedness of mind, or Chitta Gata, this is actually describing the state of samadhi, or get into the samadhi. This is pretty advanced stuff. This is a state. You need to experience it. It's not that you can go speculate here with some relaxations and some whatever feeling, you know. This is not writing a fiction. This is the body, the entire four core element, be able to get to that state. Okay? So this is the thing. Now, people with L1, L2, forget about it. Forget about it. We don't know what it is. It has to be beyond, much beyond level 1 or level 2 calmness. Okay? Now, so we don't want to speculate it, and we want to be getting there. Okay? And what I can tell you is this. Okay, what I can share with you is this. So, this is the calmness, this is for physical handling, this is for mind, this is the breathing, and this is the energy neuron. So when are we going to get into this one-pointedness of mind, or the Chitta Gata state? Well, it has to pass beyond this, because in order to get into this energy handling state, okay, which is like between 2 and come to the 3, okay, one need to be able to quiet one's 4 elements down. Quiet the 4 elements. Quiet down. Calm down. Okay. So the mind is actually in a calm state, which is usually people, the Chinese in the Qigong call it what? Call it enter into silence. The Confucius, okay, in the great learning, there's a 大学 in the great learning, the Confucius, the great learning teaching, okay, call it 静, which is quiet. Okay, that's why in this book I have wrote under the mind element, there are 3 states there. One is you settle, and then quiet and peace. Okay, so you need to enter into the quiet state in order to pass this second and the third. Okay, and this one-pointedness of mind state here is much more advanced. Okay, if we don't even know what is going on here for the quiet state, we have no idea what are we talking about. Okay, however, over here we can know one thing. The Chinese, the Confucius teaching of the quiet state is crossing. Okay, is the state which is crossing from 2 to 3. The Qigong practice of enter into silence, 入静, is for that. Okay, So you know that in Qigong practice, if one really want to deal with the Qi, one has to have that state of attainment. Okay? Without that state of attainment, forget about it. Okay? You cannot be in 1 and 2, 1 and very unstable and talk about that. You don't. You have to go through that. Okay? And if you want to talk about the one-pointedness, what we call it, one-pointedness of mind state, it's much beyond that. Okay? So you don't sit here in the 1 and 2, you say what? Like usual people. You need to concentrate on your breathing, concentrate on your nose tip. Forget about it. This is the one pointedness of mind. It's not about what usually people talk about, the concentrations or focus. It's not that. Okay? So what is it? Okay? Let me share with you. Not even in the Chitta Gata yet. It's around somewhere around here, beyond 2. Okay? How is it? How is it like? The so-called one-pointedness mind state is like this. It's like, you see this room? This room? If I leave everything in this room to rest as it is, so there's nothing moving, okay? And then I shut off other light. I only leave this light on. I only leave this light on, so only this light on. The other light on the room is off. That is what the enter into the one-pointedness of mind about. It is not like this room. I turn the light is this light. The lighting is the same, and I get a spotlight. I shine on this thing. Concentrate on this, or I get the entire room light to shine on this. It's not that. Okay? If you do that, you're going to create what? You create high intensity attention. High intensity attention or intention. High intensity. And you know what is that cause? That's going to cause stress and tunnel vision. So you say, well, you know, you want to practice anapanasati. Pay attention to your nose strip. You're dead if you do that. Okay? Because one point nurse of mind, meaning that you let all other light dim off. Only the place which is you want it to be light as usual is stay there. Instead of all the lights on and I want to put 10,000 watt to shine at one place, focus and concentrate in one place. You look at most people when they practice Qigong and all this energy work, when they say, well, concentrate on, you know what, usually we say, concentrate on your dantian or your lower abdomen, or concentrate on your nose or your third eye, they concentrate that way. That means they're going to screw the thing up. Okay? That is not what this the state in this going to this samadhi mean. So this is what I want to share with everybody. Don't stay here, never get to here, never pass to here, and then keeping using all kinds of imaginations and all this thing here. You're gonna get screwed up. That's why again you need a teacher. Okay, so that is what it is, and what I can share with you, like people say they practice anapanasati. Okay. When they practice anapanasati, the monk, how to spell the name? Yeah, Ji Yi, okay, the monk Ji Yi. one of the top Chinese top supreme master monk, Buddhist monk in China, past 1,500 years ago. She had wrote 3 process steps in this Anapanasati stuff. The first is counting what? The counting is, the first step is the counting. The counting, but it's not breath, okay? I explain you, which is, I have explained this book. The second is aware. The third is still. 3 process steps. So what happens is that we have a breathing, inhale, okay, and pulse, and exhale, and pulse, okay? So this is a pulse, this is the pulse, this is the inhale, this is exhale. So again, okay, don't practice this, even I tell you this, okay, because your body might not suitable for this. Even the Buddha doesn't teach only one way to get to samadhi, okay? Be very careful. Even the Buddha student have to switch techniques, okay? I say this is because so that you guys all know, okay? Get this thing straight. So they pay attention to the pulse, P-A-U-S-E, the pulse between the exhale and the inhale. So the first step is that, as in this book, okay, it pay attention, counting the pulse. And after the guy settle down, the mind settle down, okay, or the 4 core elements settle down, the first step, they right away get into the aware. So one just aware of the pulse, okay. At that state of the awareness state, that is also called the mind and the breathing. Sorry, the mind and the pulse become one. That is the beginning of the one-pointness of mind state. That is the beginning to start to going into the samadhi. Okay, and then when they reach the still, their mind and their breathing become the mind and breathing become the mind and the pulse become one. The breathing, the pulse become longer, and longer. Okay, and like stop breathing. Okay. But this is not manipulative. This is a natural state where they enter into the samadhi with that. Okay? But again, not everybody should train this way. Okay? If you have a weaker body, younger age, older age, there's all kinds of consideration. That's why I wrote in this book, not everybody can practice Anapanasati the same way. Okay? I mentioned this just to tell you, to share with you that in order to enter into the one-pointness of mind state, and in order to pass through this the second level of calmness to the third, and to deal with the energy neuron, you have techniques that you need teacher. And I share with you this is just to show you, to have a taste of what is going on there. So after doing that, do not stay in this place 1 and 2 and keeping speculate. You'll never know what happened here. You don't. This is not about thinking, not about philosophy. This is about the body, the mind, the breathing, the neural, the energy neural states. They be able to get into the states, and because of they be able to get into the states, their psychology and physiology are different. Because they are not here anymore, they go into the third. This is like the third level of calmness. Is a different story. Okay, the psychology, the physiology is different, and it's no longer this relaxed state. They go into this. Okay, now So that is what I like to share with you on this thing. Okay, hopefully, you know, I describe it so that, you know, I do not confuse you, but you know, that's what it is. Okay, now you know, to be serious, this is not my job to explain this. This is the Buddhist monk's job to explain this thing, or some guru's job to explain this to the public. This is about education. They are professional, I'm not, okay? So I'm just an engineer. Because I want to process model this stuff, I need to go experience this stuff, and only that I be able to do a process modeling. Okay, just look at it like I'm doing a PhD, and the OS, or the human operating system, is my PhD thesis. Okay. So I share with you guys this is because if you look at today's stuff, oh my God, okay, it is entertainment, or it is what we presenting what is there in the of our ancient technology. And also we know that our young generation need this knowledge, as I told this friend today. Okay, this is what I told this friend. Because he's asking me, so can I get here? Say this is awareness, this is calmness, this is 1, this is 2, this is -1, this is -2. So he said, well, can I pass through this place, you know, without being a monk? Okay. And after I tell him what I tell you just now, I say the reason why I released the HOS and the 3 principle there is because we human being needs to be able, everyone need to be able to handle from this one and proceed. At my grandson time, okay, my grandson's time, the human better have this. Why? Because our competitor is what? Artificial intelligence. And you know how powerful is that machine learning? So if we are not be able to understand this state or get experience with this state and make the best use of our 4 core element, and then our mind, okay, how are we going to supposed to sit and entertain here to compete with the artificial intelligence machine learning? We can go here, sitting down here, go to my favorite Lake Toba, sitting in the cafe and talk big time about Zen and enlightenment, while the machine, the artificial intelligence have go beyond the capability of us. So we need to have this. We need to have this. Okay? Serious, okay? Now, so we speak about the machine learning, right? Machine learning. And we talk about this human education, okay? So right now, this is 1, this is 2, -1, -2, okay? Now, right now, everybody want to study AI, will study what? Machine learning. But do you know that the Chinese, the Confucians teaching, the great learning, which I brought up just now on the quiet state, Okay, have the quiet state there. Actually, is developing human for this great learning, Confucius great learning. Okay? Now, I was like everybody too, you know, when I was young, I was asked to memorize the Confucius great learning. 大学之道在明明德，在止于至善，止后能定，定后能静，静后能安。All this kind of stuff. I thought, what is this? I thought it is philosophy, right? Confucius philosophy. Not until I went to study with Grandmaster Ma Li Tang's students, because Ma Li Tang passed away. Grandmaster Ma Li Tang passed away. He left a lot of writing and a lot of scientific writing, and he had a lot of different students. So I went to study with a few of his students, because as an engineer I want statistic multiple data points to see what it is. Okay, so I will study 6 healing sounds with the Grandmaster Ma Li Tang students, right? And we talk about 入境, enter into silence, which meaning that when we practice the 6 healing sound, always we want to pass the second, get close to the second and pass the second, the level second of calmness. If you do not be able to pass the level of the second level of calmness, you will not get effective or efficient development of your 6 healing sound. That is absolutely the facts, the truth. Okay. So in order to practice the 6 healing sound, you have to 入境, enter into the silence. Okay, like the other day I showed you guys in my video on standing. You enter into that, and then only that you practice the 6 healing sound, because you have to deal with the energy, the breathing and energy. Okay, so forth. So because Grandmaster Ma Li Tang have the transmissions of the what do you call it, the Confucius teaching. Only at that time I know, oh my God, so all this great learning, you know, what I once upon a time think about it is philosophy. You have to be quiet down before you can settle, and after you settle, then you'll be able to quiet, and then after you quiet or silence, then you'll be able to have the peaceful. All this stuff in the great learning, it turns out that it is not philosophy. It is about getting from this calmness to go proceed across the level 2. That's what the ancient Chinese teach their kids. So their kids, in the beginning, they are teaching them what? They develop their calmness. They develop their calmness. That's why if you see the second principle of the HOS, the core is about calmness. And if you look at the Buddhist teaching, the teaching of Buddha, samatha, calmness, if you don't develop that calmness, forget about it. Okay, so be in China, in the Buddha's teaching, it is developed of calmness, and that calmness is we human, the core of us human. And so if you want to compete with the machine learning, you better pull out the great learning of Confucius or the samatha of the Buddha's teaching. Otherwise, what do you have to compete? You don't have anything to compete. Okay, so it is very different. The education system at the Confucius times is very different than today. You just go stay between the calmness -1 or -2 to 1, and then just keeping remember all kinds of stuff. or it's just Google thing. It's very different. They develop the calmness. Okay? So it's only that I know, oh, so the Confucius is not talking about philosophy. It's talking about developing the calmness. It's talking about handling of the state of the four core elements. Okay? So they become smarter or more wise. It's not about knowledge. It's about they travel this path. Okay? So don't you want your kid to travel that path? Don't I want my grandson or granddaughter to travel that path? Because like it or not, AI is here. Okay? You want a job? Do we want to stay here and get all the AI get our job, or we want to go here where the AI cannot touch you? Okay? Or have difficult to compete with you. So you see that link to the education systems. Okay? So this is what I'd like to share with you today, and that's why I urge everybody who really, like in the university and so forth, do research on this. This is ancient technology, and today, as what I said, the human operating system is like my thesis, my PhD thesis. Okay, this is my thesis. Okay, I can be stand on trial for the oral examinations. Okay, I hope that there's a Buddha reincarnate here or Arhat reincarnate here, which can critique me on what the presentations on the human operating systems. Because only that I learn, right? If I screw up, I learn. And I also hope that the university go do research. See that it is true that human is about calmness instead of mindfulness, or as we usually heard or read in the magazine. Mindfulness maybe can have good effect on this disease or this and that and that and that and all kind of stuff. That is not what the ancient said. The ancient said is to go in with the calmness. But then, you know, to summarize this, if you go into the calmness, as what I mentioned, when you pass through 2 and 3 and go forward, your life change. Because you are no longer live in the same energy state anymore. So this is to share with you today.